Welcome back to episode 2 of Music Club FM. As I'm sure you can assume, I just kind of want to get straight into this musically. This one is by Danny Brown, who we covered in last week's episode. I've also done a WTF episode about him this week, and this song just is one that I've been absolutely obsessed with. So to kick off this week's show, we're going straight in with the incredible Danny Brown and the record Dirty Laundry.
Low-key cat been undercover. The way she slurps, she's the quicker picker rapper.
That record there is one that I must have listened to 30 times this week. I'm obsessed with it. I completely love it. Next, we are going to be playing a record from an album that came out last week, and I posted this on YouTube. You guys have responded really well. So the new album from The Strokes came out for the first time in 4 years, maybe, something like that. The record, The New Abnormal. I'll be completely honest with you, I've given it like a once over. And to me, it sounds like a Strokes record, so that's fine. But you guys seem to really like it. Tom, Johnny, and Jamie both said that it's great and phenomenal. Rare Creatures 007, Personally, Selfless, At the Door, and Not the Same Anymore are the standouts, but I'm surprised at how good others like Brooklyn Bridge are too. Christopher Williams says it's pretty okay, but nothing special. I feel like they touched on some almost futuristic bits that could have been cool to go into deeper, as well as some almost killers synthy song, and even some pretty melancholic themes, but didn't commit to any one. Harley McCritic, first listen I thought it was alright, now I've listened to it a few times, it's grown on me so much. It's great, such a catchy album, already finding myself singing the riffs. Love the first 2 tracks. Charlie Gaskell, great album. O2, The Mets, my favourite. Will Everett, personally, really enjoyed every song except for Bad Decisions. Would say it's a lot better than the previous 2 albums, but doesn't touch the first 3. Peter Stewart, as if they didn't attempt to headline the UK festival with this material. Can always hope for next year though. JX2 sounds like the Strokes are trying something different, and I love it. And Give You the Night, it's different, reminds me of Angels a bit, but I think it's still great. As I said, I've given it a once over. I've listened to the records they put out before. Let me know your thoughts. I'm interested to see what you think about the new Strokes record. I am excited to listen to it more. Because the first listen, I did really enjoy it, but I have to be honest with you, it literally is just one listen. So hopefully by the end of next week, I'll have a little bit more knowledge. But The New Abnormal by The Strokes. I'm sorry, whatever, but this is Bad Decisions by The Strokes. Next, I want to play something super duper fresh from an artist that I call a support sports team when I saw them in Leeds at the Wardrobe. A guy that has been in my library for a while, and that's Alfie Templeman. He is set to play live at Leeds this year. He's just released his a new single. This one's called Happiness in Liquid Form. Alongside this, he's also sold some branded bubbles that you can go and buy on his web store. It's a funny guy to follow on Twitter. He's been doing some fun things like creating Minecraft servers and, you know, all sorts of weird shit. And he was great when I saw him live. Really cool artist. Interested to see where he takes his sound more. This record in particular is one that I've listened to a lot this week, and I'm sure that if you're a fan of this channel, it's definitely one that you're going to enjoy. This one is Happiness in Liquid Form by Alfie Templeman.
Happiness in liquid form, I'm drinking it down.
Next, I want to talk about an artist that was due to play Glastonbury. We're going to do the Fallen Hero segment. Glastonbury obviously has been cancelled this year. There's a very large chance that Reading and Leeds will be cancelled. Although, that being said, there's some more news on that. Actually, I've got 2 bits of news, and the second one's going to come later on. But this one is about Truck Festival. We know that the festival season, and this channel revolves heavily around that, has been at severe risk due to COVID-19. Lots of gatherings have been closed down, major events, sporting events, all of that. There's talks about that starting again up again in late May. Whether or not that's a reality or not, I just don't know. That's hearsay, so who knows. But what we have here is to do with Truck Festival. Truck Festival is based in Oxfordshire, just outside, it's just up the road from Reading. It's a much smaller event than Reading and Leeds. Everyone that hasn't cancelled their festival so far has been pretty quiet. Like, we haven't seen any social media posts from RL. We've not seen anything from anyone that has cancelled, including Truck Festival. However, this week they published a photo of Catfish and the Bottlemen, along with the "I've got to give it to you, you give me problems," with the comment "when you're not in the mood." Now, I didn't know what that means. Does that mean that they're having a problem with booking it or not? And then they followed that up with Truck Festival Lauren Hibbard Instagram live sessions. So they started posting again on social media, which says to me that they're starting their marketing campaign and they're planning to go ahead. Now, Truck is due to go ahead at the end of July on the 31st. And someone last week asked if I could do a Truck special of Music Club FM, and I actually think that's a really good idea. I'm not going to do that today, but I think maybe near at a time, kind of mid-July, that might be fun. But it's due to go on 31st of July to the 2nd of August, so we're talking quite a late festival. RNL is obviously later than that. So is this possible that Truck's going ahead? I don't know. I'm taking that as they're thinking so. If they're starting to market on social media again, that says to me that they're considering it. I don't know. I'd love to know what you think. But this record is from the Glastonbury lineup. We're going to do our Fallen Hero record, and today we're talking about Metronomy, an act that are severely underrated. I will be doing a WTF episode about them because I think they're a band that every album they release an album, a record that I really, really like. This one is taken from their last album. You know, when I first came across them, they released records like The Bay, and then they released records like Love Letters. This one lately is just actually one of my favourite records of last year. I love the beat, I love the synths in it. It's super like electronic and super kind of Kraftwerk-esque, but it's very them, and I think they're a really cool band that are super, super underrated and don't get the kind of credence that they deserve. So this one is Lately by Metronomy. Right, now we're going to go into the WTF segment of this podcast, playcast, radio show, whatever you call it. We're going to be looking at 4 artists across different stages playing R&L. Starting off with Coven, who are due to play the dance stage. They're a drum and bass duo. Max Rower and Katie Boyle, they're a drum and bass duo from... don't know where they're from. I haven't put that down. They've been around for a minute. They first started making music in 2011, collaborated with people like Mode Step. They've had support from people like UKF on both their drum and bass and dubstep channels back when they were massive. Ministry of Sound, Radio 1, like they're a pretty big drum and bass group. I first came across them with their remix of Hadouken, but they've also gone on to remix artists Borgor and the Prototypes. They released their debut album Here and After in 2014, and they recently released their follow-up, and I'm talking like 2 weeks ago, they released their follow-up, The Butterfly Effect. We've actually got some people that are super excited about seeing them. David Seaman, who said that he's really excited to see Coven, as has George the Gecko, who informed me that they'd release music on Monster Cat. We spoke about Monster Cat when we talked about Muzzy last year, I think. Could be wrong there, but yeah. Anyway, this is Coven and the record Butterfly Effect. Next, we're looking at Ghazi, also known as Young Ghazi, or Chris Garzon. He is from Miami, Florida, United States of America. I would describe him as like emo rap through and through. Through and through. Super reminds me of like Lil Peep or Bexy or Juice WRLD or Lil Uzi Vert, that kind of thing. I don't know what it is about this kind of emo rap thing, but I seem to just really enjoy it as a sound. It's really geeky and really sad, and it makes me think of being like a 14-year-old, but I do, for something about it, I really enjoy it. Last year he released his debut EP, Nothing to Something, and the single My Temptations, Higher, and the record we're going to play today, Just Demonstrate. He's due to take to the pit of this year's R&L. Nothing more to say, really. This is Ghazi and Demonstrate.
I'ma demonstrate how not to care. Life's a movie, so just stop and stare.
The next artist we're going to be talking about today is a band called Jaws. There's a couple of commenters on my channel that will be super happy about this. I'm talking about you. Zach Beatty is super excited by Jaws, as is Paddy Higgins. Paddy Higgins has been posting about Jaws since I did my Becky Hill video at the start of last year. Good on you. I like that commitment there, Paddy Higgins. This is brilliant. They're his favourite brands, so shout outs to both Zach Beatty and Paddy Higgins. There are other people that also have mentioned Jaws on my videos as well, so like really cool to get this introduction. It actually made this bit of research super easy, so I really appreciate that. Jaws are a 3-piece band from Birmingham. Connor, Alex and Eddie. They're described as dream pop, indie pop, grunge, new gaze and shoegazing. I love that shoegazing genre. That's bloody brilliant, isn't it? I don't know how you describe them musically. I listened to a few of their tracks and nothing jumped to mind straight away, but they're just super easy they're a super easy listening to kind of indie band that's kind of a bit grungier, I guess. They've been releasing music since 2012. They were 3 albums, 2014 Slowly, 2016's Simplicity, and last year released their 3rd album, The Ceiling. Today we're going to play the track Do You Remember, a record that I put on this playlist, and as I listen through to this playlist without me talking on it, I end up liking more and more and more. So, Paddy Higgins and the others that comment on this one, I really appreciate all your input. I really do. It's absolutely brilliant, and this one is dedicated to you. This is Do You Remember by Jaws. And to end the WTF segment for this week, we are going to be looking at a rapper from Peckham, based in Croydon, called SL, also known as Slims. No name though, I don't have a proper name. He's a drill artist set to play the One Extra stage. I mean, usually I can't stand drill, but this record we're playing is pretty fire. He gets comparison with artists like Giggs all the time, kind of raps at a much slower pace in that kind of Giggs fashion. First released his single Gentleman in 2017 when he was only 15 years old, amassing 35 million hits on YouTube. Fucking hell. He collaborated with Chip on the record Jeans in 2018 and has released his first EP, Everything Good Is Bad, in April of last year. This record is pretty recent and features Passalu. I'm not always the best at pronouncing names, but this record, I'll tell you what, I had this on my headphones when I was discovering it, and the bass is so loud, it's brilliant. When it comes to R&L, it's not the kind of thing that I'm probably going to be going and checking out over the weekend. I don't like it that much, but this record hits, and I'm glad to have it in my library. This one is SL and Hit the Block.
Hit the block, I got what you want, I got what you need. Fuck a bro, I got loads of crow, I got hella tree.
So that wraps up WTF for this week. Those are 4 new artists. Are any of those artists that you would like me to cover more in depth in their own WTF video? Let me know in the comments section below, or send me a tweet or DM me on Instagram or whatever it is. If there's any of those that you want me to cover, just get in contact. Next, we're going to talk about an album that's due to come out this week that I am super excited for, and that is the newest album by Enter Shikari, entitled Nothing Is True and Everything Is Possible. This is their, 5th album? 6th album? They've been around for a minute, for sure. The last album, The Spark, was quite a change for them, and this one seems to be a little bit more towards their roots, but kind of take influence from it as well. They've released a range of different songs on this one. They're sounding super Prodigy-esque. They're reminding me more and more of a Duke with every record they put out. This one we're going to talk about is The Dreamer's Hotel. It's the lead single. I'm sure if you're a fan of Enter Shikari, you've already heard this. If you're not, though, this is a great introduction to them and their new music. They are a wonderful band, great to see live. We covered them at Reading and Leeds last year. It was one of my favourite episodes that I did of season 1, so you can go check that out. In fact, there'll be a link up here if you want to go check that one out. And that album is due out on Friday. This record is The Dreamer's Hotel. It's an absolute brilliant record. Enjoy.
Meanwhile, back at the Dreamers Hotel, 5 stars but all rooms are vacant.
Another record that is due to come out this week, on Friday, is the live double album Chunky Shrapnel by King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. Now, if you have ever spent any time listening to King Gizzard, then I'm sure you're addicted to them. If you think I'm going a bit mad here and going, who the f*** is King Gizzard? Go and check out their back catalogue. They're mental. They release like 7 albums a year. They have announced that they are releasing a documentary and a new double album entitled Chunky Shrapnel, coming out on Friday. This is one I'm super excited for because I get to listen to more of their music, and also I get to discover more about them as a band, which is half the fun of doing this channel. The Enemy have put out an article about this saying, the endlessly prolific King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard have announced the details of their highly anticipated feature-length documentary Chunky Shrapnel, as well as announcing the upcoming release of a live double albums of the same name. It was a documentary that was due to premiere in theatres, but obviously because of the current state of the world, that's not happening. So this week we get the documentary, which comes out on Friday. The following week you get the live album, so if you want to go check that one out, then we'll also play a King Gizzard record next week, I think, probably because it's quite fun. They're a really cool band. You could do a lot worse than going and checking out their back catalogue. But for now, this is the incredible Self-Immolate by King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
I have gone insane, I lust for volcano.
Right, now I want to get into some shout outs because you guys have been listening to this and I fucking love that. Thank you so much for supporting this. Edward Height, first of all, gets a shout out because it's his birthday today on the 12th of April. Happy birthday, Edward. James Beckenham has been tuning in on Twitter. Donna, who's tuned in all the way from Texas, by the way. Shout outs to Donna, driving down the I-30 in Texas, listening to Music Club. We really appreciate that. Jasper White, really appreciate you sharing this on Twitter. Also, we have Emma Illingworth on Instagram tuning in. I appreciate that, Emma. She's day one. And George Weller also tuning in on Instagram and listening in. I appreciate all of you so much. The main shout out I want to go to this week is to JX2, who definitely had a different name on YouTube before, who has recommended me a record to check out by a band called The Garden. It says they're an alternative band who's just released Kiss My Super Bowl Ring, the album. I went straight to it. I listened to the star track on Apple Music, which is called AM/PM Truck, and this is just a fucking monster of a record. I absolutely love this. this. Keep your recommendations coming if you think I'm going to like it. If you don't think I'm going to like it, don't bother. But if you think I'm going to like it, then please send it my way. And if I like it and I play it, I'll give you a shout out. If you want to get a shout out on this, then just tag me. Send me a tweet or post an image of you listening to this on Twitter or Instagram or whatever, or TikTok. I don't fucking know how half this shit works. TikTok, I have no idea. Someone's going to have to explain TikTok to me because it's complicated as shit. But if you want to shout out, just send me a tweet or put it in your Instagram story or whatever it may be. But mostly to JXT for recommending this record. This is AMPM Truck by Garden. Right, we got 2 more records to play. This one goes out to my brother. Happy birthday, Mr. William Webb. He is my fellow Reading and Leeds partner. He has been coming with me since 2013, so that's like a long time. This year would be his 7th year. And is always a great person to bounce ideas off when it comes to making this shit. So half of this shit doesn't happen without my little brother Will. Shout outs to him. This is a record that I know he will absolutely love. This is from one of his favourite bands and one of mine, and this is the incredible Queens of the Stone Age with the record The Evil Has Landed. Enjoy. Happy birthday, Will. And I want to end today's show with some sad news, but some celebration of life. We're going for a bit of an older record today because I think it absolutely needs to be played. Unfortunately, we tragically lost the incredible Bill Withers last week. He is just one of the most amazing soul singers, R&B singers. I don't know what you describe him as, but he's just brilliant. Famously did Ain't No Sunshine, which has been covered by every dickhead with a guitar ever. And so we're not going to play Ain't No Sunshine. We're going to play the record that reminds me of the Tetley's advert, but also reminds me of Twister. This is the incredible Lovely Day by Bill Withers. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Tune in for some WTF this week. We got Fever 333 up and some other amazing artists, so check out the YouTube channel for that one. If you've enjoyed this and want a shout out, send me a tweet. But for now, I'm going to leave you with the incredible Lovely Day by Bill Withers.